What went wrong with Air India flight AI-171? Everyone is still waiting for an answer. It's been 2 weeks since we saw those chilling, highly disturbing scenes in Ahmedabad, one of India's worst aviation tragedies in history. An Air India flight, which was a Boeing 7878 series Dreamliner, was on its way to London Gatwick, and this flight crashed seconds after takeoff. The aircraft crashed straight into the nearby BJ Medical College in Ahmedabad. A couple of days back, authorities put out the official death toll for the first time. 275 people killed, 241 on board and 34 on ground. This data was provided by Gujarat's Health Department. Some reports say DNA identification of all those who died in the crash has been done except for one individual. The mortal remains have been handed over to the families, and now the focus is shifting to ascertaining the cause of this horrific crash. In the last 14 odd days, we've seen scores of theories float around on social media, right from bird hit, failed engines to even pilot error. The government, on its part, has remained tight-lipped about the probe so far. Many experts have raised questions whether one should hope for a time-bound investigation in this air crash. But for now, some pieces of official information have finally begun to come in, even as some bureaucratic hurdles continue to hinder the process. Hello and welcome, I'm Shubham Chauhan. Let's get started. Now first, let's give you the latest update. The Ministry of Civil Aviation put out a press release today. It said the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has begun analyzing the black box data recovered from the crash site in Ahmedabad. The statement says both the cockpit voice recorders, as CVR, and flight data recorders, or FDR, were recovered from the site. One was found at the rooftop of the building on the 13th of June, and the other was found from the debris on the 16th of June. Subsequently, the black boxes were brought from Ahmedabad to Delhi by an Indian Air Force aircraft with full security on the 24th of June. On the evening of 24th June, the team led by Director General of AAIB with other officials began the process of data extraction. On 25th June, that is Wednesday, the crash protection module from the front black box was safely retrieved, is what the press release says. Subsequently, the memory module was successfully accessed and its data was downloaded at the AAIB lab in New Delhi. The statement adds that the analysis of cockpit voice recorder and flight data recorders is underway. Now, the Civil Aviation Ministry said that with this data and the analysis of this data, they aim to reconstruct the sequence of events leading to the accident and identify contributing factors to enhance aviation safety and prevent future occurrences. Now, just to briefly explain what do the terms that I just mentioned actually mean. You see, the AAIB is a government body established as part of the Ministry of Civil Aviation in the year 2012. This body, AAIB, is responsible for investigating aircraft accidents and serious incidents that take place in Indian aviation. As for the black boxes and why is it crucial, now this device is part of every aircraft. It tracks all key metrics and data of that particular flight. In the Dreamliner, the black boxes has two parts. One is the flight data recorder and the second is the cockpit voice recorder. As the name suggests, the FDR records all metrics including a flight's time, speed and altitude for the total duration of a particular journey. The CVR records the sound made in the cockpit, including what the pilots and the flight crew say. Now this data is stored in a memory chip, like a memory card of a phone or a hard drive in a PC. The black box is designed in such a manner that it survives harsh conditions as well. In short, whenever there is a crash, this black box is the best bet of investigators to piece together what exactly happened. And then, of course, a report is expected to be made on that, submitted to the Civil Aviation Ministry, and then made public, which is what the AAIB is hoping to do in this Air India AI-171 case. Remember, India got a state-of-the-art black box facility in Delhi in April. This laboratory was built at a cost of 9 crore rupees along with technical supports from HAL, that is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The facility is designed to recover flight data and conduct detailed crash investigations. Days after the Air India crash on the 12th of June and the recovery of the black box, some media reports claim that the black box may be sent to the US for further examination. It was said that America's help would be sought in data recovery as the recorder sustained heavy external damage due to the fire that took place after this deadly crash. Union Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, though, dismissed these reports. He said the black boxes is very much in India and also reiterated that let AAIB conduct their investigation. That the data has been retrieved from AI-171's black boxes in India is indeed a major relief. Now let's look at the investigation part of it. You see, after the crash, two main teams were formed by the government. One that is looking into the technical aspect, including analyzing the black box data. This committee includes the chief of AAIB, an aviation medicine specialist, an air traffic control officer, and representatives from America's National Transportation Safety Board. The other is a high-level panel headed by Union Home Secretary Govind Mohan. This committee includes Aviation Secretary, Additional or Joint Secretary from the Home Department, representatives from Gujarat Government, Ahmedabad Police Commissioner, Indian Air Force DG of Inspection Safety, Chief of the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, and Intelligence Bureau Special Director. This committee will examine existing SOPs and guidelines and also provide suggestions to improve Indian aviation as a whole. This committee has been given time till the 30th of September to submit their report. But there's a very interesting story that came in the papers this morning about the probe into this Air India crash. Arindam Majumdar of the Economic Times reported that a lead investigator is yet to be appointed to probe this air crash. Now, as per the rules, an official government order has to be signed and put out, notifying the appointment of the lead investigator. The ET report said that Dhruv Rebapragada has been roped in to head the investigation panel. He is former regional safety director for South Asia at Airbus and was also the chief of flight safety and a former pilot at Indigo. Although he has been roped in, the story says that he cannot formally begin investigation because there is no government order notifying the same. In other words, 2 weeks since the crash, the government hasn't notified the lead investigator of this Air India plane crash. Now, the report cites the International Civil Aviation Organization rules that says that the investigator in charge is responsible for the organization, conduct and control of the probe. ICAO says that a preliminary report has to be submitted within 30 days of an accident. As we record this, 14 days have already passed since this air crash. The air crash happened on the 12th of June. And mind you, India is a signatory of the ICAO. So we have to follow those rules set, which is by international standards. In addition, India also has its own set of rules, which is called the Aircraft Investigation of Accidents and Incidents Rule 2017. These set of rules don't specify a deadline as to when the crash report has to be submitted or the report investigating the crash has to be submitted. In fact, if you look at India's record in the past, like this graphic put out by Economic Times shows, even before the AAIB came into being, the time taken for the committee to ascertain the cause of a crash has been far more than 30 days. So that doesn't inspire much confidence as far as a timely probe is concerned. Now, India cannot afford to get entangled into bureaucratic hurdles and let the investigation just drag on for weeks and months altogether. Now, of course, the end goal remains to have a fair, credible and thorough probe into this horrific air crash and why and how it happened. But a time-bound probe by required experts too would ensure that this investigation file doesn't end up being buried somewhere in a huge pile of government files. Phenomena that is not too strange for India. That's all we have for this report. Thanks for watching.